Hey John,
Hi, Danny.
how you doing, bud?
I'm doing fine. Good to see you.
Good. Hey, thanks for taking the time to answer some of these questions that I have. And if you don't mind, I mean, can I record this? I just wanted to share it with my team and anybody else that may find it beneficial.
Yeah, of course, for sure.
Okay, cool. So, insurance is all over the news right now. I just like to be up to date on everything going on, especially fire insurance. Can you just kind of give me the lowdown on what's happening?
It's funny that you said something. I just got. You probably can't see it here, but I just got a note from the Wall Street Journal. They have an article today this morning saying home insurance premiums are surging and states are allowing for it. The carriers, at least in California, where I specialize in, the carriers are unprofitable. And so they're doing all of the various things that they can do to be back to profitability. Some of that involves
Okay.
raising rates. Some of that involves targeting certain markets that they will accept and excluding certain markets that they won't accept just within California alone. A lot of
Like,
underwritings going on.
like when I've heard Southern California, they're not reissuing policies, right?
There's quite a few. So it talks in this article talks a little bit about State Farm having canceled, I think 75,000 policies in California. Some carriers have entirely pulled out of California. I think Nationwide, if I'm not mistaken, MetLife, Kemper. Yes, they're pulling out of the market entirely. Whereas some
Wow.
carriers are putting pauses on business. That's what we're experiencing.
And you guys are still writing policies though. So like, what do I tell somebody if I get a past client or somebody that's looking to buy and they can't get insurance? There's still people out there writing policies, right?
Yeah, we have. I get those calls all the time where clients are kind of in the 11th hour, desperate, looking for coverage, and we can help them. I have access to a few different carriers. I'm with Farmers. I am a Farmers agent, and I have access to a few different carriers, as well as the state of California. That's kind of the insurer of last resort, California Fair Plan. But we
Yeah.
do have options, and we can help people out when that happens. The more time we have, the better to work within those application process. But we can definitely help them.
So I've heard of the FAIR plan, but I don't know what it is. What is it?
So when the private insurance groups, the state farms, the all states, the farmers, the AAAs, do not have an appetite for a particular home due to either its location or maybe its loss history, the state of California offers the California Fair Plan policy and will ensure when those private companies will not accept the risk. The problem with the California Fair Plan is processing time. It takes longer to obtain that policy oftentimes. And then the other aspect of it is the California Fair Plan is primarily fire only coverage. And
Okay.
so you're running without the full breadth of what a normal policy would cover you for. And with that mostly taking care of fire. There's ways to supplement that, and we do that with clients, but in a nutshell, that's what FAIR does.
And this whole thing is basically focusing on California, just trying to the insurance companies making sure they can be profitable.
Yeah, and a lot of people say, well, it's going to be better in this, that, or the other state. And there are some states that are better, but like in the case of Florida, Florida is a good example. Florida is actually worse than California. And it's for different reasons. It could be due to flooding, it can be due to fires. Colorado's got a pretty tight market right now. Idaho's got a pretty tight market. Texas, again, for flooding. So it's happening nationwide. It's really exacerbated in California because of the exposure or the expectations of wildfire. And we're in wildfire season now.
Right. So does that mean that since a lot of companies are stopping insuring people, are other companies going to start raising their rates, you think?
One of those two things, right? The carriers are unprofitable, so they've got to make a decision. Do we want to stop doing business to stop the bleeding, or do we want to raise our rates so that we can get back into our profitability status? This article from the Wall Street Journal saying that the Department of Insurance in California is allowing average increases of 20 to 25% on their rates. So that's what we're expecting.
Wow. Wow. And in California, that's mainly due to the wildfires.
Absolutely. It's well, it's due to unprofitability. It's not just the wildfires though, because people say, look, I live in the city or I live in an area at the beach, right? And the beach doesn't burn. It also has to do with the cost of labor and the cost of materials. Inflation last year was high. And
Hmm.
while some of those building costs have come down, they're not down to where they were, say, in 2022 or 2020, early 2023. So it is the anticipation of additional weather events, but it's also the cost of doing business with the labor and materials that are used for housing.
Right, right. Well, it seems like everything's going up nowadays. Um, so the good news is that people can still get insurance. The bad news is it just may take them a little longer to get, be a little harder to get, and they may have to pay a little bit more for it.
Right. And that's what I tell clients too. It says, the good news is we can help you. The good news is that there are options out there. They may not be what you're used to seeing in the past, but there are ways to mitigate that. Obviously, discounts can be added, bundles can be bundling up insurance can be done, and maybe going with a slightly higher deductible than what you're used to. We're finding that that's a good solution for some folks to try to offset some of that cost differential.
Because the higher the deductible, the lower the monthly payment.
Exactly. So if you had a
Okay.
$1,000 deductible previously, you're only responsible for the first 1,000. Maybe moving that to 2,500 and saving some money on the insurance is a wise decision.
Right. But I mean, this is huge. I mean, a company like State Farm, they're a massive company. They insure a lot of people. So a lot of people are going to get these non-renewal letters and kind of be like, oh my God, what do I do? Who do I call?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I mean, they're welcome to call me. I'd love to talk with them, but
Well,
it's
you're my guy. You know that I refer you to everybody.
yeah, and it's not just State Farm. I single them out, like you say, they're huge. They're the biggest insurance company in the nation. But there are other number of other companies that Berkshire Hathaway has stopped doing business. Costco for home insurance has stopped writing home insurance. And almost you name it, the company's either pause business or is severely limiting what they're willing to write.
Wow. Wow. Well, hey, thanks for taking the time to take this call. I've been seeing it on the news and, who knows what to believe. So I wanted to get it straight from the horse's mouth. And I guess you're the horse in this analogy. So thank
Yeah,
you, my friend.
yeah. Thanks. It's been
All
great
right.
talking with you.
You too, buddy. Talk soon.